we go again.
What's up everyone, welcome to a new video. Very proud to announce that the engine is in the car. With the transmission, the transfer case, everything is bolted in. Yeah, so super stoked that the engine's all in. It wasn't easy. It was almost 3 days total of doing this with the help of some very good friends. I want to talk about those 3 days and each day of what we did and the problems that we encountered. So this video is just going to basically be me narrating over some of the footage that I took. I didn't take as much footage as I would have liked, or talked as much as I did when we're putting the motor in. It's very difficult to kind of work on the car, kind of organizing everything and then working a camera at the same time. Okay, yeah, so Friday afternoon, very good friends Chris and Jonas. First of all, I want to send a massive shout out to those two for all their help with everything over that weekend. Without them, there's no way this could have happened. So cheers guys. Huge thank you to the both of you. I'm forever indebted to you. Any help you guys need, please hit me up. But anyway, yeah, so Jonas came with his Nissan pickup truck and Chris, and they came and picked up the car. It was taken away from here, then they went to Chris's workshop and they picked up the motor. I then met them at a workshop in Drammen, and there was the engine and the motor, and we were ready to put it in the car.
Smile.
So Evo, meet the engine. Engine, this is your home. Just go to your home, please. It's that easy. Just, this goes here.
That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Yeah, how we did it was, we did it differently to how we took the motor out. If you remember when we took the motor out, we took it out through the top. That probably wasn't the best method, but it worked fine. When we were putting it in, we decided that we would lower the chassis of the car over the engine with the gearbox attached. So having the engine sitting on a pallet, and then yeah, just lowering it down. As we're doing that, I kind of thought, I've watched a few videos on other YouTubers who had done this before, and what they had done is put the transfer case and resting it up on that cross member. It makes it a lot easier. If you put the engine and the gearbox in the car and then you have to put the transfer case in, that's very, very difficult because there's just no room to work with whatsoever. With it all kind of lined up and everything, then we had to get an engine lift in just to kind of lift the engine a little bit further up and just align it to where we needed it. That was hard because the pallet was in the way, so we had to use a few means of deconstruction to just chop the pallet in half so we could actually move the engine crane in. And I guess it's those sort of problems you don't really think of, you know, and they're the sort of things that just take time. It's problem solving, and I mean, those are the things that I kind of find fun in doing these projects. So yeah, so with the pallet cut, we were able to move the engine lift in a little bit further, and that allowed us to just lift the engine into place. And then myself and Jonas were underneath the car, holding the transfer case up, getting it into its final place, and then trying to put the bolts in. That was not easy. That was exhausting, having the transfer case sitting on my leg and then trying to align it, and then Jonas trying to put the bolts in. But we managed, we did it. So day one was a lot of hours. I think we finished at like 2 in the morning or something like that. I don't know what time we started. I think we started at 8 p.m. But so we did a fair bit of work for those amount of hours. So at the end of day one, we had the engine in, the gearbox, the transfer case, I believe the turbo was in, the tail shaft was in, the CV shafts were in as well. So overall, very successful. And I was happy with the amount of work we did then. Day two, my main goal was to get the car started. I was pretty sure we were going to be able to do that, but didn't quite go to plan. So day two was really installing, putting all the loom back in, trying to hook up all the vacuum lines as well, just figuring out how everything went. I was using some old photos I took before we took the engine out. That didn't work as well as I thought it would. My biggest recommendation when doing these things is take more photos than you'd ever think you'd need, from every angle, from every distance, and also take video as well, just so you know how everything goes back into place. The biggest problem really was over on this side. There's all these very small brackets that the wiring loom kind of plugs into, and it bolts into certain places, and I thought I took some good enough photos, but it didn't work out too well. Luckily, Chris is a lot smarter than I am, and he was able to work it out. Day 2, I had to leave a little bit earlier. We never got the car started, unfortunately. Okay, the wrap up for Saturday. We didn't get it started. Bow, bow, bow. The exhaust is done. The vacuum is all done. There's a few vacuum ports that are now blocked off. Hopefully they're all blocked off, we'll find out. Power steering is all in.
AC is all there.
Yeah, AC. Oh yeah, you've bolted up the AC as well?
Yeah, everything is done.
Okay, that's awesome. After I left, those boys were amazing, and they installed the new Koyorad radiator. New radiator hoses. They put the intercooler in also, that I've actually started taking out again because we need to get to a few other things, but I'll talk about that. Now, one of the biggest things that happened on day 2 was Chris went to install the accessory belt, serpentine belt, the belt that drives basically the alternator, the power steering, and the AC. Now, what there should be is a small little pulley right down in here. I thought that I had everything organized, everything was in boxes and labeled. Somehow that pulley has gone missing. So that was a huge roadblock for us. I went home that afternoon, I tried to find it, I couldn't find it anywhere. So that really sucked. It basically meant that we could start it, but we're not going to have power and we're not going to have any water pump going. So yeah, that sucked. I managed to find one in Australia. I got my dad to buy it, but it's a very long way from Australia to Norway. Anyway, that was a huge bummer for me because that really kind of stopped progress with the car. But anyway, we continued on into day 3. Okay, day 3. And look how much has happened when I wasn't even here. Thanks to this kind gentleman. There's chocolate, and I found remnants of pizza. So they've been having a fun night with the car while I wasn't here. I had to go back, look after the kids. Chris and Jonas, 2 good friends, have done a fair bit of work on the car. As you can see, the intercooler is on, radiator is in. Radiator hoses are in with clamps. It has coolant, it has oil. We're just putting the battery in. Power steering fluid is in also.
Gearbox oil?
Gearbox oil is in.
Yeah.
But the big problem we have right now is a pulley that is meant to be down here for the power steering pump and the charging system. I seem to have lost the pulley. But so the plan is we're going to maybe try and start it without that on there, which means we won't have a cooling system because the water pump won't be going, a power steering or charging. But we'll just see if it actually starts and see what the car says back. So what we have left now, we have to do the cold piping on there. The fuel pump needs to go in, which I'll talk about in a second. So day 3, we installed the intake, the rest of the intercooler piping, got pretty much the car ready to start. And we tried to start it. And click, nothing at all. So at that point, you kind of have to start thinking, okay, where is the problem? Now the fuel pump wasn't hooked up. That's one thing I didn't talk about was I have replaced the fuel pump with a Walbro 255. When I took that fuel pump, the old fuel pump out, which had been replaced with a SAD one, probably in Japan, there's a small wiring loom that runs inside the hanger assembly, and the plug had totally melted to the insert for the plug on the pump. So that wasn't good. Luckily I bought a fitting kit for the EVO 9 and it came with a new plug, so I was able to use that. But we thought we'd try and start the car without the fuel pump attached and without the crank angle sensor and everything attached, just so we could get oil pressure.
There, so you can start.
Nothing. It wouldn't start, so we thought, okay, we'll hook up the fuel pump. So we hooked up the fuel pump. Still wouldn't start, so we started checking fuses and everything. Everything looked fine. And then, stupid me, realized that this is a JDM car. Okay, so after how long? 45 minutes, chasing problems, electrical things, putting the fuel pump back in. What I remembered is the car is a JDM car, so you have to press the clutch to start the car. Yeah, so that was kind of embarrassing, and once again I felt bad for those two other guys who had helped me so much, and then I, once again, just making all these stupid fuck-ups all the time. I definitely am not the greatest mechanic or problem solving when it comes to these things. You really have to kind of stop and think for a few seconds, just, I don't know, sometimes I kind of panic and you think the worst when basically the problem could be a very easy, simple thing, and in that case it was.
Ready? Yeah. Yeah.
A great success! So the car started, but it wasn't idling properly, but we managed to get it idling okay, but obviously we couldn't run it very long because there was no accessory belt on there. But super happy that we got the car started. We then went for a little drive to go get some fuel and a couple of hot dogs at a nice petrol station, very typical Norwegian thing to do. Put fuel into it. We were able to start it up, but the car is running very rich. But that was as far as we were able to get on that day. Without the accessory belt, there's not much else we could really do. We kind of just finished everything off as much as we could. We bled the brakes, which was good to get done. We also attempted to bleed the clutch, but it's not bled properly because it's still not going into gear when the car's running. So it needs to be bled again. I mean, there's so many things I can talk about with this car, but I have got a brand new clutch sleeve on there, a brand new braided clutch line. So I've changed everything with the clutch assembly on this car, but it's not bled properly yet because it won't go into gear, so we need to do that. So yeah, that was the end of day 3. I mean, we got the car started, everything is back together as much as it can be. And then after that we trailered the car back here and I'm back in the garage. But obviously the big thing right now is that pulley that sits down in there. So I'm hoping I basically ordered one from the United States, priority mail air, because I want to get this all sorted before the summer holidays end, and for me that's in 1 week. I just want to get it sorted, you know, before I go back to work and have to worry about things. So that'll get here tomorrow, then hopefully on the weekend we can put that in and try and start it up and then see what other problems we have. But overall, I'm just so happy that I am with the car and it's kind of complete. Like, it just looks so good right now. I mean, I really want to start putting all the bodywork back on, but there's really no point until we've kind of sorted everything out because the bar's just going to have to come back off anyway, and it makes it so much easier to access things. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I guess we're at the final maybe 5%, which anytime with a project car is always the hardest part. Just trying to break through that last 5% and just problem solving, really. So absolutely stoked. I guess next video, put that serpentine belt back on, try and start it and see what happens from there. Anyway, massive thank you for watching again. Hope you're enjoying the EVO series. I really just can't wait to get in and drive this car. That's what I bought it for, just to drive, and once again I've just got another car sitting on the garage that will once again have to go back up on jack stands. So I'm going to do that right now. Anyway guys, see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.